A generous act, or was it? Ananias and Sapphira, their names are forever etched in the pages of history, not for their heroism, but for a deceit that shook the early church to its core. Their story is a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the consequences of deceit. Picture this: Jerusalem buzzing with the Holy Spirit, a city alive with the fervor of new believers. The streets were filled with people on fire for God, their hearts overflowing with acts of generosity. It was a time of great unity and selflessness, where believers sold their possessions and laid the proceeds at the apostles' feet. Among them, Ananias and Sapphira, a seemingly devout couple, decided to sell a piece of property. They saw the admiration others received for their generosity and wanted the same. "Let's give the proceeds to the apostles," they declared, their faces beaming with feigned generosity. But behind those smiles, a different plan was brewing. A noble act indeed, or so it seemed. They conspired to keep back part of the money for themselves while pretending to give it all. Their deceit was about to be exposed. Here's the catch. In the early days of the church, the believers were united in heart and mind. They shared everything they had, ensuring no one was in need. But not everyone was honest in their intentions. Ananias and his wife Sapphira sold a piece of property. They secretly pocketed a portion of the money, conspiring together to deceive the apostles. They presented a portion to the apostles, hoping to appear more pious than they were. Their plan seemed foolproof, but they underestimated the discernment of the Holy Spirit. Little did they know, they were attempting to deceive God himself. The community was built on trust and honesty, and their actions threatened to undermine this foundation. Now Peter, filled with the Holy Spirit, saw right through their charade. He confronted Ananias with a piercing gaze, his voice filled with righteous indignation. "Ananias," he boomed, "why has Satan filled your heart to lie to the Holy Spirit? You have not lied just to human beings but to God." The air grew thick with tension. The room fell silent as everyone awaited Ananias' response. The weight of his deceit was palpable. Ananias, struck with fear, collapsed to the ground, dead. His sudden demise served as a stark warning to all about the seriousness of their actions and the omniscience of God. A little while later, Sapphira, oblivious to her husband's fate, arrived. She walked in with a sense of normalcy, unaware of the storm that was about to hit her. The room fell silent as she entered, eyes filled with a mix of pity and anticipation. She had no idea that her world was about to be turned upside down. When confronted with the truth, she too crumbled under the weight of her deceit and met the same fate. Her heart raced as the realization dawned upon her. The lie that seemed so small had now grown into a monstrous consequence. She fell to the ground and died, her spirit crushed by the enormity of her actions. Talk about a party foul. The entire assembly was left in shock, their faces reflecting a mix of horror and disbelief. The gravity of the situation was palpable, and the air was thick with tension. It was a moment that would be etched in their memories forever. This dramatic event sent shockwaves through the early church. The congregation was left to grapple with the harsh reality of divine judgment. Conversations buzzed with fear and reverence, as the early believers tried to make sense of what had just transpired. It was a sobering lesson for all. It was a stark reminder that God's judgment on sin, even in the midst of revival, is swift and severe. The skies seemed to darken as if nature itself mourned the loss. The graveyard stood as a solemn testament to the consequences of deceit. This event would forever be a cautionary tale for generations to come. Fast forward to today. Imagine posting a carefully curated and slightly misleading picture on social media, boasting about your perfect life. We all crave authenticity. The lesson from Ananias and Sapphira: honesty, my friend, is always the best policy. Let's live authentically, seeking God's grace rather than fleeting applause. Remember, He sees our hearts, not just our carefully constructed facades. So, if you enjoyed this story, remember to like and subscribe. Till next time.